I never thought I'd end up here, honestly. My name's Jake, and I was married to Emily for about 2 years before everything fell apart. We seemed like the perfect couple. She was gorgeous, funny, confident, and I genuinely thought we had something special. We had a good life planned out, or at least I thought we did. I was working my ass off at my job, trying to build something stable, and Emily was always the one pushing for us to settle down, get a house, start a family. But in the last few months, I started noticing small things that didn't add up. Nothing huge at first, just little signs that felt off. She was more secretive with her phone, hiding her texts, taking calls in the bathroom. She'd get defensive when I asked about her plans, saying she was tired or had to work late when she was clearly out with friends. I brushed it off mostly, thinking I was just paranoid. I mean, everyone has their secrets, right? But the weirdness kept piling up. Then came the night before our wedding. We had a small engagement party with a few close friends, and everything seemed fine. Emily was her usual sharp-tongued self, making snarky comments to everyone, acting a little snippy but still charming. That night I was exhausted, running around all day, making sure everything was perfect for the next day. I remember going to bed early, thinking I'd get some rest before the big day. But that's when I noticed her phone was still on the nightstand. I didn't think much of it, just a flicker of curiosity. I picked it up, glanced at the notifications. Nothing unusual, just work stuff, a few texts from friends. I was about to put it back when I saw a message thread that made my stomach drop. It was from some guy named Mark, and the last message said, "Can't wait to see you tonight. This is going to be the best night of my life." Just that, plain and simple. My heart started pounding. I knew immediately who Mark was, my boss, Robert. I'd seen them talk before sometimes, quick chats in the office, but I never imagined anything like this. I didn't know what to feel at first. Shock, rage, disbelief. I stared at the screen, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. How could she do this? The night before our wedding, I was supposed to marry her the next day, and she was planning to sleep with my boss. And she lied about everything, said she loved me, wanted to spend the rest of her life with me. All a lie. I stayed awake that night, heart pounding, trying to process what I just saw. The next morning, everything felt like a bad dream. I was supposed to be happy, excited, but I couldn't get the image of her and Robert out of my head. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but I knew I had to think carefully. How could she do this? Was she planning it? Did she even love me? Or was I just some guy she settled for while she went out and fucked her boss? That thought made me sick. I was about to marry her, and I had no idea who she really was. The entire day, I fought the urge to call her, to blast her out in front of everyone. I kept pretending everything was fine, but inside I was a mess. I was furious, hurt, betrayed, like my entire world was collapsing around me. I kept replaying that message over and over, wishing I could go back and undo everything I saw. I couldn't stop thinking about what she was doing right now, if she was lying in bed with Robert again, or if she was already pregnant with his kid. That thought cut deep. I never wanted kids with her, not like this, not knowing she'd cheated on me. That night, after everyone left and I was alone in the house, I finally broke down. I felt an overwhelming mixture of anger and sadness. How could she be so cruel? How could she lie to my face for years, act like she loved me, and then do this? I kept asking myself if I'd missed the signs, if I should have seen it coming. But honestly, I had no idea she was capable of something this cold. I thought she was just a little bitchy at times, yes, but I never thought she'd cheat on me, sleep with my boss, and then lie about it all. I wondered if I even knew her at all anymore. So I sat there, trying to figure out what to do next. The wedding was in less than 24 hours, and I was supposed to marry her, but everything felt pointless now. I thought about the life we planned, our future, our home, the kids. We talked about it so many times, and now it all seemed like a lie. I didn't know whether I should expose her, confront her again, or just walk away. Part of me wanted to ruin her, to make her pay for what she did. The other part just wanted to crawl under a rock and disappear. That's where I am now, trying to decide whether I've lost her or lost myself. Maybe both. All I know is I can't ignore what I found out. I don't think I'll ever trust her again. And honestly, I don't even know if I want to. After that night, everything changed. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and honestly, I didn't even want to try. The shock was turning into anger, pure, searing rage that kept me awake, thinking about how she lied to me for so long. Emily had always been the sharp-tongued, bitchy girl who loved to tease and push buttons, but I never thought she'd go this far, sleeping with my boss just days before our wedding, then pretending like everything was fine. I kept replaying that damn message, her lies, her fake smiles. It was like a punch in the gut every time I remembered the way she looked at me with that fake sweetness, all the while planning her next move with Robert. I knew I had to do something. Sitting around crying or feeling sorry for myself wasn't going to fix anything. I started thinking about how I could get to the truth, how I could find out if she was pregnant, if she'd already told Robert about the baby, or if she was planning to keep me in the dark. I wasn't going to let her get away with it. I needed answers, and I needed them fast. So I got up the next morning, my stomach twisting with a mix of dread and resolve, and I decided to dig deeper. First thing, I checked her social media. Nothing unusual there, just her usual photos and posts. Then I started snooping through her emails and messages, looking for any clue that might give me a handle on what she was up to. What I found wasn't a surprise, but it still hit hard. There were more messages. From Robert, flirtatious, intimate. They talked about meeting up, about how they couldn't keep their hands off each other, about how her secret was the most exciting thing she'd ever done. There were even pictures of her in her bedroom, half-dressed, with her phone showing him some flirtatious text. I felt sick. She was lying to my face about everything, about work, about her feelings, about everything. She'd been sneaking around for weeks, maybe months, and I was the fool who thought we had something real. I decided I needed to confront her directly. I waited until she got home from her meeting, which I knew was with Robert, and I called her out the moment she walked in. She looked surprised, like she hadn't expected me to catch on so fast. Her face hardened when I threw the phone on the table with the messages on screen. She looked at it, then at me, and said in that bitchy tone of hers, "What are you talking about, Jake? You're crazy. You're paranoid. I have no idea what you're trying to accuse me of." But her eyes couldn't lie. There was guilt, panic, a flicker of fear. I didn't hold back. Do. Lie to me, Emily. I found your messages. I saw the photos. You're sleeping with Robert, aren't you? And you're pregnant. Yeah, I know about that too. Her face twisted into a sneer and she shot back, "Oh, please. You think I'd sleep with Robert? That's just some stupid rumor. You're losing it, Jake. You're jealous and you're just trying to ruin me because I won't be your little obedient wife anymore." Her voice was sharp, biting, but I saw the cracks in her bravado. She was lying, I knew that, but she was also trying to manipulate me, make me doubt myself. The confrontation turned ugly fast. She started yelling, calling me insecure, accusing me of being controlling. I could feel the anger boiling over. I told her I knew she was lying about everything, about her supposed work trips, about her feelings about the pregnancy. I demanded she tell the truth. That's when she finally snapped, her tone turning bitchy and dismissive. "You're just some jealous idiot who can't handle the fact that I'm better than you. Robert's the real man in my life now, and if I want to have his baby, I will. You're nothing but a stepping stone for me, Jake. Maybe I never loved you." Her words hit me like a punch to the chest. I felt rage, betrayal, heartbreak, all swirling together. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to make her see how much she'd hurt me. But I just stood there, stunned, realizing how cold she'd become. I'd always known she liked to be bitchy and manipulative, but this was next level. She didn't care about me, about the vows we'd made, about the life I thought we had. All she cared about was saving her own skin and getting what she wanted. That moment broke something inside me. I realized that I couldn't save what was already gone. She'd been lying to my face for months, maybe longer. She was pregnant, and I had no idea if the kid was even mine anymore. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of betrayal. All the love, hope, trust I'd ever had for her was evaporating right in front of my eyes. I looked at her and saw a stranger, someone who had been pretending to be my wife, but was really just a manipulative bitch who slept with my boss and lied about everything. After that fight, I knew I had to get out of there. I packed a bag and left her house that evening, not saying a word. I didn't want to scream or yell anymore. I just wanted to get away from her, from the betrayal, from the sickening feeling that I'd lost everything I thought I had. That night, I stayed in a motel, trying to process everything. I kept asking myself if I should tell someone, if I should confront Robert, if I should tell her family. But honestly, I was so overwhelmed with emotion that I didn't know what to do. All I knew was that my world had turned upside down. Now I'm sitting here trying to figure out what comes next. Do I fight for her? Do I walk away? Do I try to get some kind of revenge or just disappear? I keep asking myself if I even know her anymore, if I ever really did. The worst part, I don't even know if she's pregnant with Robert's kid yet, or if she's just lying about that too. I just feel like I lost myself in her lies, and I don't know how to find my way back. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and anger. I stayed in that motel room, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment I'd ever had with Emily. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I didn't see it coming. She was always bitchy, yes, but I thought that was just her personality, her sharp tongue, her quick temper. I never thought she'd go so far as to sleep with my boss, to lie about a pregnancy, to ruin everything we had. It was like waking up from a nightmare, only to realize the nightmare was real, and it was worse than I could have ever imagined. I knew I had to get some answers, though. Sitting around feeling sorry for myself wasn't going to solve anything. I decided I'd do some digging into Robert, see if I could find out whether he knew about the pregnancy or if she'd already told him. For days, I stalked social media, looked at his posts, tried to piece together what was really going on. I found out he was married, which made everything even more complicated. I felt like I'd been played, used as some pawn in her sick game of deception. The worst part, she was probably already lying to her own family, spinning some story about a difficult breakup or stress from wedding planning. One thing I refused to ignore: Emily was a master manipulator. She'd always been bitchy, but her ability to lie and twist things around was impressive. That's why I had to be careful now. I couldn't just storm in and accuse her again. She'd spin something, deny everything, and make me look like the crazy one. So I started planning my next move. I needed to know if she was really pregnant, and I needed proof. I also needed to figure out what her next move might be. Was she planning to keep this secret? Was she planning to keep Robert a secret? Or was she already telling everyone she was single and looking? I decided to go to her house quietly late at night. I wanted to see if her car was there, see if she was sneaking around again. I parked a few streets away and watched her house from a distance. The porch light was on, but I didn't see her car. I waited, heart pounding, listening to the quiet suburban street. Then I saw her come out, dressed carefully like she was going somewhere she didn't want anyone to see. She looked over her shoulder, then quickly slipped into a car parked a few houses down. I couldn't make out who it was, but I knew it wasn't me. My stomach sank. She was still lying, still hiding what she was doing. I felt a mix of rage and despair. I'd always thought I knew her, but now I wasn't so sure. She was a manipulative, bitchy liar, and I was just some guy who thought I had a future with her. I didn't know whether to feel heartbreak or anger, maybe both. I had trusted her, loved her, even believed she loved me, and she'd been planning her next move all along. That's when I realized I couldn't keep pretending like everything was fine. I had to do something drastic, something to finally get the truth out in the open. So I started looking into her phone again, trying to see if I could find anything they'd missed. I needed concrete proof, texts, photos, anything that would confirm her lies or expose her. I knew she'd be careful, but I was determined. I spent hours hacking through her cloud accounts, digging through hidden folders, trying to find that one piece of evidence that would blow everything apart. And I found it. There was a message from Robert sent just a couple of days ago saying, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Just thinking about your belly, how it's gonna look with my baby inside." That was the moment I knew for sure. She was lying about the pregnancy. Either she wasn't pregnant at all, or she was planning to tell everyone it was Robert's. Either way, she'd been lying to me all along. The betrayal stung worse than anything I'd ever felt. I'd been so blind, so naive, thinking we had a future. Turns out she'd been planning her escape the entire time. That night, I decided I'd confront her head-on. If she was still hiding something, I'd find out. I couldn't keep living in this fog of lies. I wanted the truth, no matter how ugly it was. I knew she'd try to deny everything, call me crazy or jealous, but I was done with her lies. I was done with the bitchy, manipulative girl I thought I loved. I just wanted to know the truth, because without it I couldn't move on. And I knew I couldn't stay in this toxic mess much longer. I had to face the brutal reality. Either I'd expose her or she'd keep lying and pretending everything was fine. Either way, I was done being her fool. The next morning, I woke up with a knot in my stomach that wouldn't go away. I knew what I had to do. There was no more hiding, no more pretending I didn't know. I had to confront Emily, face her head on, and get the answers I needed. I took a deep breath, grabbed my phone, and sent her a message, telling her I was coming over. Her response was bitchy and dismissive, the usual leave me alone attitude, but I wasn't about to back down now. I wanted clarity, and I was going to get it. When I arrived at her place, she was already waiting for me at the door. Her face was a mask of arrogance, like she had everything under control. She tried to act nonchalant, but I saw the flicker of worry in her eyes. I didn't bother holding back. We need to talk, I said coldly. No more lies, Emily. I know about Robert. I know about the messages. I want to know everything, the truth about the pregnancy, about what you're planning to do, about who you really are. She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. You're overreacting, Jake. I don't know what you're talking about. You're just jealous or insecure. Maybe you're imagining things. Her tone was defiant, but I could see her hands trembling just slightly. I didn't buy her act. I pulled out my phone and showed her the messages, her flirtatious texts, her talk about Robert's baby bump, her plans to keep quiet. Her face went pale for a split second, then she snapped back with a bitchy smile. Fine, she spat. Maybe I was talking to him, or maybe I was. Who cares? It's none of your business anymore. You're just a boring guy who couldn't satisfy me anyway. That was her go-to move, trying to belittle, trying to make me feel like I was the crazy one. But I wasn't backing down. Are you pregnant, Emily, or are you just lying about that too? Because I want the truth and I want it now. She hesitated, her eyes darting around. You think I'd tell you after everything? You're nothing but a control freak, Jake. I'm done explaining myself. Her voice rose, more bitchy than ever. If I'm pregnant, it's Robert's kid. End of story. If I want to have his baby and leave your sorry ass, that's what I'll do. You don't own me. Her words cut deep, but I was beyond caring about her manipulations. I had proof, and I was done letting her lie to my face. Stop lying, I said, voice steady but furious. I'll find out the truth one way or another. You can keep pretending, but I know what's really going on. If you're pregnant, I want to see the test. If you're not, then don't lie anymore. Because I swear, Emily, I'm not going to stay quiet about this. I've had enough of your bullshit. She scoffed, trying to act tough, but I saw the cracks in her armor. Her bitchy attitude was a thin veneer over her guilt. That's when I realized how much she'd been lying about everything. The pregnancy, her plans, her feelings. She was a master manipulator, but I wasn't going to be her puppet anymore. I demanded she tell me where she stood, whether she was really carrying Robert's child or just making excuses. Her silence told me everything I needed to know. She was planning her next move, and I was just collateral damage in her game. I turned to leave, feeling a mix of anger, betrayal, and heartbreak. I knew I couldn't stay here anymore, not with her, not in this toxic relationship built on lies. I was done. Done pretending I didn't see the truth. Done allowing her to control the narrative. I realized that I had to cut her out of my life for good, no matter how much it hurt. Because if I stayed, I'd just be another fool, another pawn in her game. As I walked away from her house, I felt something shift inside me. It was a strange mix of relief and pain. I'd uncovered everything, and now I was faced with a choice: fight for the truth or walk away and try to rebuild myself. I knew deep down that I couldn't keep living in her shadow, questioning everything. I needed to take control of my life. Again, even if it meant hurting for a while. I had to accept that Emily was no longer the woman I loved. She was just a bitchy liar who played me for months, and I wasn't going to be her fool any longer. After I left her house that day, I felt like I was walking in a fog. Every step, every breath was heavy with the weight of everything I'd uncovered. The betrayal ran deep, and part of me wanted to lash out, confront her again, or even do something reckless to make her pay. But another part knew I needed to stay calm, to think clearly. I spent the next few days trying to process everything, questioning myself. doubting whether I was overreacting or if I'd missed all the red flags. But deep down, I knew the truth. Emily had been lying from the start, and I had to figure out what to do next. I couldn't ignore the fact that she was still acting bitchy, still manipulative, still trying to gaslight me into thinking I was crazy. Every time I tried talking to her, she'd dismiss me, call me insecure, or accuse me of just being jealous. That only fueled my anger. I wanted her to admit everything. Admit she'd slept with Robert, admit she was pregnant, admit she'd been lying for months. But she refused. Instead, she kept playing her game, throwing accusations back at me, acting like she was the victim. It was exhausting, but I refused to back down. One night, I decided I'd go to a clinic and get a test myself, just to be sure. I didn't trust her, and I didn't want to be blindsided anymore. I scheduled an appointment and waited anxiously for the results. When I finally got the results, the pregnancy test was negative. I felt a fleeting sense of relief. She wasn't pregnant with Robert's kid. It was another lie, another manipulation. But that relief was short-lived. I realized that no matter what the test said, her lies had already shattered whatever trust we once had. The damage was done. In the days that followed, I slowly started to pull away. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was okay. I told her I needed space, that I wasn't sure what I wanted anymore. She threw a fit, calling me all sorts of names, accusing me of ruining everything. But I did care. I knew I had to protect myself from her toxicity. I also started thinking about what I wanted for my future, if I could ever get past this, or if I should just cut her out altogether. That's when I decided I was done with her lies. I made a plan to confront her one last time, to get her to admit everything. About Robert, about the pregnancy, about her manipulations. I wanted to hear her say it aloud, so I'd know the truth once and for all. I was tired of playing her game, tired of feeling like a fool. I wanted closure even if it hurt. I knew deep down that I couldn't stay with someone who had lied so completely, who had played me for months. I deserved better. I had to believe that. So I waited, nerves on edge, until she finally called me. She was bitchy, angry, trying to push me around, but I was prepared. I laid everything out, showed her the evidence, asked her directly if she was pregnant, if she'd slept with Robert, if she'd been lying this entire time. Her reaction: she sneered, rolled her eyes, and told me I was overreacting. "You're just insecure, Jake. Or maybe you're just too stupid to see how much I don't need you anymore." Her words were cold, cutting, but I couldn't be swayed. I told her I didn't believe her anymore, that I knew she'd been planning her escape from the start. Her face twisted into a look of pure contempt, and she spat back. "Good luck trying to hold me back. I'm done with this stupid relationship, you're done." That was the final nail in the coffin. I realized then that I had to let her go, that holding on was only hurting me more. I told her I was done, that I wasn't going to be her puppet anymore. I was tired of her bitchy attitude, her lies, her manipulation. I'd been so blind to who she really was, but I finally saw her for what she was: a manipulative, selfish woman who just used me to get what she wanted. And I knew I had to move on, even if it meant starting over from scratch. In the end, I learned a lot from this nightmare. I learned that trust is fragile, that some people will lie and betray you in ways you never expect. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought, strong enough to walk away from someone I once loved, just to save myself from more pain. And I learned that no matter how much you care, some people just aren't worth holding on to. I don't have a clear plan yet, but I do know I'm done chasing illusions. The best thing I can do now is focus on rebuilding myself, on finding someone who won't lie or manipulate, someone who's honest and real. So yeah, I lost her, definitely. But I think, in the process, I also lost the version of myself that was naive enough to believe in fairy tales. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I just wish I'd seen the signs sooner, but hey, lesson learned the hard way. It's been a rough ride, no doubt. I won't lie, losing her hurt like hell, and the betrayal left scars I know will take time to heal. But honestly, I feel a strange sense of relief now that it's all out in the open. The weight of hiding the truth, of questioning myself every day, gone. I can finally breathe again, even if it's in pieces. I realize now that I was better off without her bullshit, her manipulations, her bitchy attitude that she used to justify her lies. Since cutting her loose, I've been trying to piece myself back together. No more pretending everything's okay. No more justifying her actions or blaming myself. I see clearly now that I was just a pawn in her game, and I've got to rebuild my life on my own terms. I've started going out more, hanging with friends I sort of neglected, and focusing on my career again. It's not easy, and some days I feel like I'm back at square one, but I remind myself that I deserve honesty, respect, and someone who actually cares. Not someone who manipulates me, cheats on me, and then calls me insecure. Looking back, I realize I should have trusted my gut from the start. The signs were there. Her secretive behavior, her bitchy attitude, the way she dismissed my concerns. But I was blinded by love, by the idea of a future together. I thought I was lucky to have her. Turns out, I was lucky to get out before she pulled me even further into her chaos. I've learned that some women are just good at hiding who they really are until it's too late. Now I know better. I don't regret what I've been through, even if it's been painful. It's taught me resilience, about setting boundaries, and about how important honesty is in a relationship. I'll never let someone manipulate me again. I'll never ignore my instincts or dismiss red flags. Most of all, I'll never settle for someone who doesn't respect me. To anyone out there going through something similar, trust me, you'll get through it. It hurts like hell, but time really does help. Focus on yourself. Don't be afraid to walk away from the lies and the toxicity, because in the end, your happiness and self-respect are what matter most. I may have lost her, but I found a bit of myself again, and that's worth more than gold. So yeah, it's over. I'm healing, I'm moving on, and I'm finally starting to believe that I deserve real love from someone who's honest and loyal. That's what I want now, nothing less.